all, we need to move the seat into the front. So we use this lever over here. Now we can see this panel over here, which is where the fuse box is. And here we have 4 screws. So for the 4 screws, we're going to use this, and we unscrew them. 1, 3, and the last one is over here. Okay, put this here. Now it's time to remove the fuse box cover. So we can use a screwdriver to just pull it out from here. This is only using buckles, so we have a couple here and a couple over there. Okay, this is the fuse box. The other we want to remove is this one. Okay. After we remove all the covers, we can pull out this one, and we can go to the next set of screws. We can also remove this cover, which can help us out. Just pull it out like this from under to up. Now next step is to remove everything which is over here and remove this cover. So how we do that, basically we just need to pull it out. After we pull out the nut, we can just erase it, but pull it out maybe would be easier for us. Okay, so now what we need to do is to pull out the cover over here. Now this cover is connected to this one. So what we need to do is to remove the screws over here. So that's what we're going to do next. Same head like just the ones we did just before. 1, 2, and the third one is over here. All right, make sure to not lose the screw and the nut. Okay, let's put these things in a better place. Okay, now we can pull out this one. Here is the connection for the antenna. You can use a small screwdriver to help yourself to push this point here, and then you can pull it out easily. Otherwise you can use your fingernails if they are small enough. That's not my case. Then you can remove everything. Okay, so now it's the time we need to use the CarPlay module. You can disconnect or you can don't disconnect battery. It's not a big problem. We recommend to disconnect, of course. This is your head unit. The part number on the label might be slightly different, but it will be the Z unit. And you will recognize it from the position and from the connectors over here. So before we touch the head unit, let's check our CarPlay module. So this is the main module for CarPlay and Android Auto. Here we have 2 antennas for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. This is the video signal, you have power, and here we have USB. So first of all, we put this aside, remove the over cover, and this connector, as you see, as the USB female, this doesn't need to be connected for now, we can leave it. This one, as you see, is with a blue exit which goes to the CarPlay display, which is this one over here. So this one can be connected already. As we prepare ourselves to connect it to the head unit of the car. So basically those wires will stay in the middle between the head unit and the car original connectors. And since the connector match the ones on the car, you cannot get them wrong. For now, let's leave the CarPlay unit here and let's take the other cables. So the other big cable is this one for power. Last we have the 2 antennas, which may be like this or maybe a little bit different. The ones we sell is usually another kind because they're much more easy to install. But either way, the antenna installation is just simple. Just connect it over here. No matter which one you connect, they are the same. That can be an easy first step. All right. So the other cable is this one over here. This white connector goes over here. All right. So where do we connect those ends? It's not difficult. Actually, we just need to check the head unit over here. So here we need to disconnect this connector. Now you cannot just pull it out. There is a small buckle on the bottom, which I'm using a screwdriver to help myself push. Take your time, as you don't want to damage the connector. I don't want to buy this connector. Okay, once you push it, you will see it just goes out very easily. So just make sure you push it before you try to pull out. Otherwise, you will have to use a lot of strength and you will destroy something. Maybe easier with your fingers. That's the buckle. So when you need to push, you need to make sure that something is pushing it a lot. You need a lot of strength. So sometimes fingers will be better than a screwdriver like this. So after we disconnect this one, we go back to the CarPlay wiring, which is exactly the same, but male. So this is the female, which goes to the head unit, right? And we need to find a male in our cabling. So here you can see this one has the pins, so it's a male. This other doesn't have, looks exactly like this one, so it's a female. So those two go together. Okay, we connected it. And now this one, which is exactly a copy of the one we just removed, goes where that one was. Make sure the buckle is facing down, and then it will go in. Easy. So in this moment, this part of the cable is completely connected. We need to do only this part now, which is on the other side of the head unit. So we need to move over here. Okay, so on this side, we have two connectors. One is the white one, big one. We have male and female over here. Another one is the green one. We have male and female over here. So since we have several connectors which are white and green, we need to find the correct ones. Now this one on the most towards the rear wing of the car is not the one we want. The one we want is just immediately next. We can press the buckle on top and pull it out. The other one we want is the green one, which is under, not the one on top. This one also has a buckle on top, so we can push it down and then we can pull it out. So after we do this, it's time to connect our cables. Green with green, male with female. And once it clicks, you know it's connected properly. And then white with white, also here, male with female. Next step is to connect the females of our kit cable to the head unit where the originals were. So I'd recommend to start with the green one because it's the smaller one and it's a little bit more nasty to handle otherwise. Buckle faces up and it goes in. Second one, same logic, buckle faces up and it goes in. Okay, now if the battery of your car has not been disconnected and you give power, you will see those LEDs turn on. So let's see if it happens. So now we have power and the CarPlay LEDs are on. If we disconnect the power cable, this one, they will go off. So this is the easiest way to know if you connected properly the power to your CarPlay. So next step is to see if everything works fine, but just before that, we need to connect the USB cable in case we need it. This cable usually is not needed, but we will install it because in future, if you want to make a firmware update, you will need this. So just install it over here. And then the only important one here is the USB female. This one over here. You want to be able to reach it so you can make updates later. The others, this one is a jack for the microphone, which we don't need to use because we use the original car microphone. And this one is a cable which is not needed either. So you don't need to worry about those two. Just connect this one. So now we're going to connect Android Auto to this car. What we are going to do, first of all, after we give ignition, we press the music button and we jump into the CarPlay module. Now it's in Chinese, so we need to go to this part, which is settings, and then change to English. After you change to English, you will notice that everything here just changes the language, but the position of the things is always the same. So even if you don't understand which language this is in, as long as you remember the order of the touch you need to do, you will not have problems to find this. Now we are in English, and we have CarPlay over here and the Hi Car over here. Hi Car is basically Android Auto, but for Huawei. But since we are going to use a phone which is not Huawei, we need to change this. So we go to Settings, System, Factory Mode, Phone Link Setting, and then on Android Link Type we select Android Auto. After we do that, this car is left hand, so we don't need to touch this one. We can just apply, and it will tell us to restart. So how to restart? We go here, and then we press Reboot. Once it's rebooting, we will go back to the iris system. So from the iris system, in the meantime, we can connect the audio part to our phone. So how to do that? It's quite standard. From the main menu, we want to go to the phone, to the settings over here. Let me change language. Okay, now we are in English. So from the main menu, what we need to do is to go to the connectivity. And then from connectivity, we make sure that the Bluetooth is on, and we know the Bluetooth name of the device, in this case McLaren 100M. We go to device pairing, and we add a new device. Then we search for the device on our phone. So this is McLaren 100M. Let's see if our phone can find it. If it doesn't, you can switch off and switch on the Bluetooth, and this should help. McLaren 100M, okay. Our pin code is 0000, should not even need to ask you, depending on your settings, but you will find it over here. Okay, let's pair and confirm over here. Now that we are paired, we will have audio synchronization between the phone and the iris system, and this is what normally happens on any McLaren from the 12C until the latest models. While it's connecting, we just try to open music and see what we have on this phone. Okay, let's see if you can hear it from the audio of the car. It doesn't, although we can play it from the phone, but the music comes from the phone over here. After a while, the car should be able to switch directly, but if it doesn't, what you want to do is go to the main menu again and make sure that Bluetooth audio here is selected instead of USB or storage. As you see, after you change, it will just not be possible to hear. Then you switch again, and Bluetooth is available again, and you can listen to the music directly here. So this is general way that McLaren Bluetooth audio connection works. Nothing to do with our CarPlay module. Now we start to use our CarPlay module. We long press here. Now we have CarPlay and Android Auto, which before was Hi Car. Now it's time to press Bluetooth over here and add this device, McLaren 055B. From the phone's Bluetooth, we connect to McLaren 055B. We pair, and immediately it will start Android Auto. Now we are in. If your audio doesn't work, maybe because when you connect it was paused. But if you have issues, just jump back into the iris system and make sure that Bluetooth audio over here is selected. So we jump back into the Android Auto and we check a little bit how it works. So we have phone, we have the main menu, maps. I cannot see anything because I don't have internet in this phone, unfortunately. Over here I have settings and YouTube Music, which also I cannot use. Over here I have settings from maps. So the touch screen works fine. Let's try to see if we can, for example, do something different. Mute, working fine. When we want to unmute, you just press it again. For air conditioning, once you press it, it will jump directly to iris and to the menu of the head of the air conditioning, which you can just change according to the way you like. If you want to go back, you must hold the music button to go back into the CarPlay. If you just go back, it will not work. So next step is the call button, which is used to call your voice assistant, which now I cannot use anyway. And then we have the main return button over here, help us to return to the main menu over here. If you press this button, exit, you just go out of the Android Auto and you go back to the main CarPlay module menu. You can go back in like this. So now that we make sure that the module works, what we do is disconnect power for a second. And we need to assemble everything, right? So we found this is a decent position. It has a decent isolation from temperature. It's far away from the head unit, which actually can get very hot. And we can connect it using those strips, which should make it easy for us to keep it in position without having to make major modification. Okay, now it's time to put everything back in, and then we can test it for a drive. First we connect the antenna to the connector, and then we can put this cover back in. The last of our first set of screws. Then we can move on the next thing. Okay, next step. Next set of screws is the same like this, 7mm. We start to install them also, so we can put this cover back into place. Alright, the other side now. Last two screws. I'll install this one on top. Okay, now it's time for this one. Make sure the white part stays on the inside. Then you must make the mat fit inside. You will pull out the USB wire for CarPlay, firmware update, and for CarPlay and Android Auto by wire. But if you don't need it, you can leave it inside, but I recommend to leave it out even if it's hidden, because in future you might need it. Hopefully not, but you never know. Now make sure the screws over here are visible, because we need to install the 4 screws over here, and we are done. Okay, now install those panels. Following this, we insert this part inside and inside here. Okay, all done. The last are the 4 screws over here. Last step is to connect this nut into those places over here, 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 and here, and we are done.